everybody, and welcome to Randy, I'm going to say the wrong name of my wrong show. We're going to have to deal with my brain today. Hi, Randy Coleman.
Vicki, how are you?
Oh, Randy, I'm all better now, but it's been a time. But this is Game Changers with me, Vicki Abelson, and today's guest, Randy Coleman, and this is take two, as it were. And thanks so much for coming back, Randy.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me back.
So has this been like an odd, I don't know if we even got into the COVID stuff, and if we did, it doesn't matter, but has this been odd for you, this life we're living now?
Odd? It's been odd and God.
God.
Odd God. Yeah, it's definitely been presenting its challenges for sure. And I also will say / opportunities as well. I think you and we had this conversation on the phone that first time I've had this kind of perspective that 2020, it's appropriate to me that COVID is happening in the year of 2020. And maybe it's just the opportunity for us to like be able to, have that perfect sight, to see things in a more clear perspective of what's important in our lives,
So has there been, off the top of your head, I just noticed that my light is now over there, but it doesn't matter. And is there something off the top of your head that comes to mind, like a lesson, like a life lesson you've learned during this time? I know that's putting you on the spot, because I'm sure there's a lot of things, and but
yeah, I mean, honestly, it really comes down to, so much of it is, look, for me, it's like this whole year, not just the pandemic. For me, it started with the forest fires in Australia, and then Kobe, and then like losing Kobe and his daughter and all this and the others in that helicopter accident, that just was like, oh my God, it feels like that just like turned the whole world upside down. And then it just like ushered us into this global pandemic, this situation, which a friend of mine said, like this is like one of those times in the world's history where everybody's got the same thing on their minds, so it's this kind of like this thing that's creating a lot of discomfort and fear, but it's also bringing us together too at the same time. So I think for me, it's been like, live today, be here now.
I love that, and I also love what you said about bringing us together. It definitely has. I don't know if we got to this last time, but there's these group of people we call ourselves the COVID crazies, and they kind of all just found me in the pandemic. I started, I did this weekly show, Game Changers, for years, but middle of March, I started shooting the shit with Vicki on a daily basis, mostly, to be honest, for me, to keep me connected with everybody, because I'm alone. And I was like, I'm going to go insane, and I thought it was going to be 2 weeks, maybe a month, no idea that it was going to be. It's good that I didn't have that knowledge, for sure. But what happened is all these people we started to find each other. And so we get together literally every Monday through Friday. We are together at 5 o'clock every single day. And we know we can count on the fact that for an hour, 2 hours every day, we are going to connect and have this community. And it's really saved my life. So have you found new people, new situations in COVID?
Well, it's interesting that you said that, because let's see. I started a book club, and amazing book called Mary Magdalene Revealed by the authors.
I was just going to ask you what you guys are reading.
Yeah, it was. So I've always been drawn. Like I grew up in Christian church and stuff, and I've always kind of seen things from the peripheral in my experience, and been drawn to Mary Magdalene for so long. I just feel like she gets mentioned in these like key spots in the Bible, but she's hardly ever mentioned. And I've always felt this intuitive draw to her. And so I came across a friend of mine, a girlfriend of mine, suggested this book called Mary Magdalene Revealed. It's called the first feminist gospel, the Christianity that we haven't tried yet. And so I just gathered a bunch of people, some people who've had some negative experiences in their Christian backgrounds, and and it was just amazing to have this conversation around bringing sort of a feminine perspective, a divine mother perspective to Jesus's story and her story, really her story, and how they're so intertwined, and how important her role in his story is. Really, really amazing, incredible stuff. So that was one thing that we did. Also, after the George Floyd situation, I took it upon myself, because so much, everything was going on, so much it's just social media, and I just asked a friend of mine, a Black friend of mine, my sister Colleen, I just said, what can I do as a white man? What can I do? And she said, what you can do is like get together with white people, your white friends, and talk about racism.
Wow.
And so we started this like Black Lives Matter / white privilege conversation with me and some other white brothers and sisters. And it's been amazing. It's been incredible. So we've had 2 of them, and we're going to have our 3rd one this weekend as well too.
Wow.
So I don't know if these things would have, huh?
I said, white people talking about African-American people. That's just, it's great.
Well, talking about and where have we seen racism? Where have we been, where have we seen it? Where have we been possibly complicit in it, and just to have that uncomfortable conversation, and it's just interesting it was just very fascinating and really quite profound and revealing to see, to have this conversation and this dialogue with my friends.
Wow. I think that's something we can do. I like the fact that you're being so proactive with this, because there's pushback in terms of, I remember when people started using the hashtag BLM, and there was talk on Twitter, like, white people, don't be using this hashtag. This hashtag is not for you. And there were people that got offended by that. I get it. And it's like, okay, so what can I do? Not we do. What can I do? So yes. I love the fact that this conversation is happening, and looking at where have I been complicit? Where have I, for me, Randy, one of the biggest frustrations, I have a book club of sorts. Women Who Write is a literary salon that I've had in my home for 11, 12 years now. And
awesome.
Authors come and read from their works, and live music and all of this stuff. And I look forward to the day that I'll be able to host you in the living room with 50 women and men surrounding you, giving you love live. But anyway, I have tried. I find that LA, to me, feels very segregated. I'm from New York, and on my floor in my apartment building in New York, there was one of everything. There was an Iranian, there was an Asian, there were, a white Jew, there was African American, all represented on one floor in one building. And I feel here in Los Angeles, there are pockets, like, and not a lot of there's not a lot of integration. Mm-hmm. And I think it breeds a mentality of that. So I found that when I had this artistic outlet, it was challenging for me to integrate even artistically in LA. Mm-hmm. I had to really go out of my way to do it. It doesn't, integration doesn't come naturally here, I don't find. So I think it's a conversation that's worth having. And I think the pandemic has made me more thoughtful about everything. More caring, more sensitive, more empathetic, more thoughtful. So yes, I love your attitude of the good that's come out of it, as well as the challenges. So how has it been personally for you? How has it been challenging?
Well, I like routine. I have I had my gigs. I was actually at the beginning of the year. It was like, I remember I just moved in. I was telling you I live in Hermosa Beach.
Uh-huh.
I just love it down here. I'm a beach boy at heart. I'm part hillbilly and part beach boy. But I was looking at my calendar in February, and it's like, whoa, this is going to be a busy year and a lucrative year, and I was excited about it. I was planning a trip to Canada and a bunch of gigs that were lining up for the rest of the year. And as of March, it was just like watching them all just like drop off one by one.
Yeah.
So it's just, you're not playing in front of people. I'm very much, the kind of performer I am, I guess, is, I'm an Aries, so I'm very visceral, and I love to connect, and I love to be with people, and I love to connect with them musically. So it's been a challenging. I also love being at home too, because I got a Scorpio moon. So, and I know you and we have that flip thing. You're a Scorpio with an Aries moon.
That's right.
So you got to relate to this. So I also love to be, I love to be quarantined and be creative in my own space. It's just and being able to hug people. I'm a big hugger, and not have to think about it,
Yes.
So.
And how has this looked for you? Like, do you get out in the what do you get out in the world? Like, I barely leave my house. I barely left my house, and it's awful. But what do you do?
Basically, these days, my routine is I live walking distance from the beach, so I go to the beach basically every morning. Wow. And surf or swim or do some yoga down there. I just love the beach. I go to the market to get food, and then we just started. I'm a musical director of a church service in Beverly Hills.
Right.
Before I turn anybody off with the word church, okay. Because even for me, when I hear that word, I go, oh, a little bit. But I just want to say that this church in particular, I would not be a part of this if this church was not totally inclusive of everybody and everyone, no matter what your faith is, what your sexual orientation is, sexual gender, whatever. So just understand that, which is kind of what Jesus was talking about, right? Inclusivity to all. So we just started doing an outdoor patio, in-person limited seating. And guess what? That was almost 3 weeks ago. I think I hugged the kid. It was like, I hadn't seen him in 9 months or whatever. And sure enough, COVID. Tested positive. And I it's been almost 3 weeks for me, so I think I'm fine. I'm cool. But yeah, you just never know, I know. Other than that, I visit my mom in Marina Del Rey, and that's about the extent of my going out these days.
So does it worry her? Like, if you're going back to in-person situations, are you concerned about bringing it to your mom?
Well, yeah, I told her last week, because I said, Mom, I'm taking the rest of this week off. So it will by the next time I see her, it will have been almost 3 weeks. So I think we're cool, but yeah, it's something definitely on my mind. And
so what does it look like when you meet in person? Like, how are you guys socially distancing? You wearing masks?
We are wearing masks. But some of us, we're just like, you cool to hug? I'm cool to hug. Okay. And so we'll do that, like one of these numbers, and sometimes I still just forget to go out and go. Sometimes I'll get out of my car to go into the store, and I won't have my mask with me. I'm like, oh, that's right. Got to go back and get the mask. But
I actually had a nightmare last week that everywhere I went, I'm COVID crazy, and everywhere I went, I didn't have a mask, and I would walk in and nobody had a mask, and nobody was social distancing. And
this was literally a nightmare, or
it was a night. It was my worst nightmare, and I was sleeping. Yeah, it was a dream.
Okay.
And I literally didn't, I'd be the last person to forget the mask because I'm nuts. So it was actually a horrible nightmare of what it would be like to be out in the world right now and not have a mask and have people on top of me. And yeah, but the thing about the hugging, I so get. It's the price of isolation is so high. And I think we might have talked about this last time. They've done studies on babies who were malnourished, who didn't have food, and babies that weren't touched. And the babies that didn't have food did better than the ones who weren't touched. We need that from them.
I believe it. I believe it. I get it.
But at the same time, you know, the COVID numbers are insane and they're getting worse. And as you said, you go to in-person meetings and you hug somebody and you find out they test positive. Yikes.
Yeah. I think I hugged him. I can't remember exactly. I know I put my hand on his back, but yeah. And then his father and his sister have recently tested positive as well too. But they seem to be doing okay. You know, they seem to be doing good. So and I hear stories too. A friend of mine had it, and he was like just getting a cold, and he kissed his wife, and she didn't get it. So it's like,
it's hard. But then we have one of our COVID crazies. I don't know if Marge is on yet. I think she might be. She went to a lab to get tests. She hadn't left her home. She had to go for blood work. She got COVID. It turned out all of the workers at the lab had it, 9 workers. Man. Had 23 people in the waiting room got it. And she's a long hauler and had ongoing problems from it for months. Man. So, you know, you don't know. You don't know what's going to happen. So somebody's on the thread Jude's saying, Randy, stay healthy. Stay healthy. Stay careful and stay healthy. So how is your mom fare? How is your mom dealing with it?
Well, my mom, that's been another challenge that we've been going through is that she just, I mean, this year has been, woo. I mean, even just in my own little world, I've had a couple of deaths with friends that were very young that weren't COVID related. And one of them wasn't. I'm pretty sure the other one wasn't either. But, and my mother has been laid in bed with a foot infection for the last like 2 months. And I think she's just starting to come around, but, boy, we've been in and out of hospitals and you know, caregivers and nurses and medications and this and that, and you know, so it's been an ongoing thing. But she's hanging in there, and she may be watching. I don't know. She's not tech savvy at all. I mean, she makes me look like Einstein with this stuff, but or Bill Gates, whatever. But no, but God bless her. She may be on it. If you are, Mom, I love you. And maybe she'll see this, you know.
If not now.
Recorded version.
Yeah. If not now, later.
Exactly.
Okay, so I think we could use a shift in this energy. I know I start talking about this stuff. We talked briefly before the show. I lost somebody very important to me yesterday. And you know, when you said that you lost 2 friends and it wasn't COVID related, this wasn't a COVID related passing, and yet it was, because my life coach was ill and he had to have surgery, and he went to the hospital and his wife wasn't able to go with him. And so for a month, he was isolated completely, going through major health trauma. And he'd already had issues ongoing for a while. And that loneliness and that isolation while going through trauma of surgery and tests and not having his true love with him, or his kids, or his cat, or his couch, you know, and his comfort, he kind of gave up. And I consider that a COVID related passing, because I think had things been different, had his wife been with him in the hospital every day, I think he would have made different choices, and his progress, I think he would have fared better. And I think there are a lot of people now, getting all kinds of seemingly unrelated, stress-related illnesses that are all part of this. I mean, not just the COVID, but also what's going on politically and how that's impacting us, the stress of it. No matter what side you're on, it's
Right.
really challenging times.
Absolutely, Vicki. Really
So,
well said, and what great insight. And I'm so sorry to hear about your friend. I really am.
okay, so let's have fun with this for a minute
Yeah.
because Jeremy Stevens was one of the founding writers and was all through Fernwood Tonight and America Tonight, of which your dad, Dabney Coleman, appeared. And I just found out 2 days ago that Jeremy, you said you're watching Mary Hartman now. Is that what you were binging?
Yeah, I had to say, I was binging it for a while. I've had to take a break from it for a little bit, to be honest with you. But yes, I watched a bunch of episodes. Yeah.
Kind of crazy. And have you watched any Fernwood Tonight? You've seen some?
I have it. I've seen the scene. I've seen the episode with my dad in it. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Merle Jeter.
out there was Merle Jeter. Oh my.
Merle Jeter.
So for those of you who don't know, Mary Hartman never missed one episode, nor did I of Fernwood Tonight or America Tonight. Just the best television. You know, I could see where now it would all be really dated and kind of really weird. But at the time, genius.
Oh, yeah.
Genius. And so there was a sketch on Fernwood Tonight. There was this bit, leisure suits cause cancer, which wasn't on your father's episode, but it was one of the funny, you know, at the time, leisure suits were like this big thing, like everybody was wearing leisure suits.
Yep.
And yeah. And so Jeremy actually wrote the sketch, Leisure Suits Cause Cancer, which was a huge thing back in the 70s. And I never knew that was his sketch. Kind of.
That's awesome.
But anyway, so let's talk about your dad for a minute. So you come from show business, and wait, you know what? Before we do that, maybe we can shift up the mood and all get happy if you play some music for us. So
you got it.
How about if we do that?
You got it.
Good.
I think my dad would support that decision at this point. All right. Okay, this is a song. It's a relatively new song, but it's a song that will be going on my next record, which I am planning on having it released, looking to have it released in next year, 2021. At the crossroads of my broken heart, I lay prostrate to a brand new start. I met a woman brave enough to be a girl. Yes, I have walked alone and now I'm coming home to her. In my day, I've seen many helpless nights. Yes, I have. Yeah, I've been a refuge better 1,000 times. Tomorrow's exhale held in the past. I have walked alone and now I'm coming home at last. So give me one more song to sing, and I will lay it down like a pauper to his queen. And say, Theresa, when I see you in my lover's eyes, I want to count my blessings and drink my wine. A wounded sparrow in a howling wind. I can't stop these tears from the shape I'm in. And no more the addicts now say goodbye to Rome. As I walk this path, it's time to get myself back home. So give me one more song to sing, and I will lay it down like a pauper to his queen. It's Saint Theresa when I see it in my lover's eyes. Yeah, I'm gonna count my blessings and drink my wine. Whoa. Gotta have a little bit of a grunt. Rock and roll. All right, let's do this. Ooh, just gonna give me one more song to sing, and I will lay it down like a baba to his loving queen. Yes, I will. And Saint Theresa, when I see you in my lover's eyes, make me cry, cry, cry. I wanna count my blessings and drink my wine. Yeah, I'm gonna count my blessings and drink my wine. One more time. I'm gonna count my blessings and drink my non-alcoholic wine.
You're non-alcohol. Thank you for that.
Yeah, you got that's for you, Vicki.
Okay, so let's talk about your process. How when did all this music start for you, Randy?
Well, I came to epiphany that at some point, I think it started from the moment I came out of the womb, you know, that's my honest truth. I actually believe, like, when people say I don't sing, I don't sing. I don't think it's true. I think we all came out of the womb sounding like Robert Plant, circa 1969, you know, and we've been fed this belief that we don't sing, but we do, you know? So honestly, that's where it started for me.
So, okay, so is Dabney, is he musical?
He actually is. He is. And he really has a deep appreciation. Both my mother and my father have a great appreciation for music. They love music, and they influenced me with their taste and their love for music.
So what kind of music was playing in your house when you were growing up?
Well, it's like old school, like John Denver, which I love. I love John Denver. You know, Ray Charles, Otis Redding, Waylon and Willie. You know, to name a few. You know.
So when you were a little kid, what was the first thing you wanted to be when I grow up, I want to be?
Right. So that's I want to be. So I grew up with an older sister who was like a musical prodigy. She was like this amazing, brilliant talent. And being the kind of Al-Anon that I am, I was like, oh, well, I guess that's her thing, and I should find something else. So I fell in love with the Blues Brothers, and I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to act. So I did get into acting, but then I couldn't help it. I just found myself grabbing my sister's secondhand guitar and teaching myself how to play, and locking myself up in the room, like in my room, and like pretending I was Freddie Mercury, and starting to play in little high school bands and stuff. Yeah, just music just unfolded just naturally for me to follow in that art form.
When did you start writing your own? By the way, I love the song you played. And
Thank you.
Tell us the name of the song.
It's called Saint Theresa, and in parentheses, in my lover's eyes. I like parentheses. I like old school songs with like they have the parentheses, you know. I want you, she's so heavy, you know.
I have a subtitle on my book. I like that kind of stuff too.
I love subtitles.
Subtitles are really good. What's your writing? All right, I'm asking like 5 questions at once. What's your writing? Do you have a writing process? Like, does the lyrics come before the music? Does the music come first? Do they come together? How does that usually work for you?
It's usually the music. It's usually the music comes first. I start playing, and then either the words will present themselves to me. I have a song called "Ashes in the Rain" where I just, the words started coming, and I realized 2 verses into it, I was like, oh my God, this is about Johnny Cash. This is about Johnny Cash singing to June Carter on the other side.
Wow.
So yeah, it's called Ballad of Johnny and June. Ashes in the Rain, ballad, in parentheses, Ballad of Johnny and June. And then sometimes, yeah, just play music. And if there's an experience that I'm going through or a feeling that I'm having, I'm like, okay, this is where I've got to put these feelings and emotions into this music.
So, okay, so you're playing in some bands, your sister has quite a career. I am aware of that. She's amazingly talented. And your father is having this huge career in Hollywood. How did that impact you? Did you spend time on sets when you were a kid? Did you do that?
You know, my dad, fortunately enough for me, it was like, well, you know, to be real honest, full transparency, my parents didn't get along very well. So there was a lot of separation, and there was just a lot of times I just didn't see him, and the life that he led, but he did, and he was also very cautious of subjecting us children to that environment too, which I really appreciate. And so, in terms of like pursuing acting as a child, but I do remember going on the set of 9 to 5. I was on the set on 9 to 5 and I remember meeting Dolly and Lily and Jane and I saw the infamous, iconic scene where they tie my father up and I remember asking, I was a little kid, and I was like, after they filmed that scene, I was like, Dad, I think I heard Jane Fonda laugh. And she was like, don't worry, they'll take care of that in the editing room. It's like, I didn't understand what that was, but I saw that was awesome. And then I actually was on the set of On Golden Pond.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was really cool.
Henry Fonda,
Katharine Hepburn, and Jane Fonda. I mean, the Mount Rushmore of American cinema as we know it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you realize at the time you couldn't possibly have? You must have been so young.
No.
Yeah.
Like who Katharine Hepburn was, and
well,
no.
I mean, the magnitude of what you were in the middle of, you couldn't possibly have known that then, right?
I didn't. I started to have a kind of a concept, but no, not really. Not really. I was more interested, I think, in the U.S. Open at the time because they shot it in August. So
yeah. So okay, so you're doing high school bands, and do you know I want to be a musician? That's what I want to do. Did you know that?
Yeah, I think by then it was like I fell in love with the Beatles. So what happened was I got my sister's hand-me-down acoustic guitar, and then I like fell in love with the Police and the Beatles. And fortunately for me, like the Beatles songs were like, they were simple enough for me to like, I could look at where you put your fingers to play the chords. And so I learned a lot of Beatles songs. And then I found it. And then a friend of mine I met in high school. We were like, okay, we got to get like a Beatle-y thing going. So we started playing music together in high school, and that carried me through college. And then I left music for a while to go study acting.
And where did you do that?
I did it at Cal Arts.
Uh-huh. And what was the dream? What was the dream attached to that? What kind of acting did you want to do?
Well, so at the time I was a little bit jaded with the music scene. This was right around, now we're getting up to about post-college, like right after college, end of college. This is right at the grunge movement, the Seattle movement. And had a band, and we were, with this label at the time that was my friend at the time started this label called Vagrant Records, which blew up. This label absolutely blew up, and Jimmy Iovine took over.
Wow.
Interscope and Bloodwood. Yeah, and so but the band just fell apart. It just imploded. And then I just got kind of jaded with the whole music scene. And then I was spiritually kind of lost at that time. Went to India to do the George Harrison thing.
Wow.
And shaved my head. I lasted 3 days in India, came back home.
Okay, wait, no, you can't rush through this.
Okay.
Okay, so did you find God? What 3 days? What happened after 3 days? Come on, I want this story.
Yeah. So this was, I was like the quintessential like Gen X, like this was just right before Kurt, God rest his soul, like took his life. But I was like the epitome Gen X-y guy, slacker, sleeping in late, couldn't really find a job, that guy, brooding artist guy. The world doesn't understand me. Everything smells like Teen Spirit. So, and then my cousin went to India, went to an ashram in India and stayed there for 6 months. And he's like, dude, come on down. And I was like, I've got nothing going on. I'm going. Let's go. So went out there, and it was such a culture shock. I just was not in a place spiritually, physically, like psychologically I was also very shocked. I didn't have much experience traveling at that point in my life. It was just too much. And I just freaked out.
When you were doing this? How old were you when you did this?
This was, I'm a late bloomer too. So I was like 24, 25. Yeah. Which means kind of like, think of that as like 18 at best. At best.
I get that. I get that. So, okay. Yeah, go ahead. So tell us the rest of the story.
So it just, I was like, I got to get home. I got to get back home. And so I came home. This was during the earthquake of 94. And the money that I was going to use for that, to stay at the ashram, I put it into an acting class with a woman named Joanne Linville, who helped start the Stella Adler Conservatory out here. And that's when I got really into acting then. And then I went for a summer course at Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts, where we were doing it all day long. It was a conservatory, so we were like doing it 5 days a week. It's like, I called my dad. I was like, Pops, I gotta do this. Like, I need to go 2 years. So I ended up going 3 years actually to get my master's in fine arts in theater at Cal Arts.
Okay, so did you have any jobs through this part of your life?
At that time, I was just temping, answering phones, and yeah. And then I got a job. Actually, I got a job at a music magazine called Music Connection Magazine. Started by one of my best friends, who I mentioned him before, talking about the world is thinking about the same thing with this pandemic. His name is Michael Dolan. He's one of the publishers of Music Connection Magazine. So yeah, I worked there for a while. And then I actually did work for my father on his TV show called Mad Men of the People. Yeah.
Wow.
Cynthia Gibb.
Yeah. What did you do? What was your gig in that?
I was his PA. Yeah.
How was that?
It was weird. It was cool. And then it was like, I don't know, this is going to work for me. Being a PA for my dad. So it didn't last long. And the show actually got canceled. And I remember actually it did as well as, I think it was doing as well as Friends. It was like right there, and they canceled the show. Yeah. I don't know how those things work.
That's great. And so what acting work did you get along the way when you were trying to do that? What did you do as an actor?
I just basically, my acting experience really is it's just school acting, the theater that I did there, because once I graduated from Cal Arts, I went straight to music and haven't looked back. However, I did do a movie through my church. I played the lead role in this feature film based on a true story a few years ago, which was an amazing experience.
How can we find it?
It's called This Day Forward. I believe it's you can go this day. I think thisdayforward.com. I wish I knew. If you type Google This Day Forward, the movie, it'll take you to a link, and I think it's like $5 to rent it on Vimeo or whatever. And all the proceeds you go back to the church and to the family. So I'm not making anything off it from here on out.
I thank you. I read a little synopsis. That's the 2-line synopsis of the true story of what it's about.
Yeah. It's basically based on a man who lives in from Waverly, Iowa, a little town in Iowa. Married his high school sweetheart. He was the alpha male of the town. Went on to get his degree in music, master's degree in vocal. He was in a rock band. He was teaching voice at the university. He was the musical director of a church service. And then at 30, has three beautiful young girls, and built like, oh my God, I mean, just like alpha male guy, right? And he gets diagnosed with an inoperable malignant tumor in his brain, of which he is defying the laws of fucking cancer. Like, he's had like over 80 chemotherapy. And he's like, he still has hair, like he's still buff, like he's amazing. His name is Mike Jensen. Yeah.
I watched the trailer. It's emotionally intense, to say the least.
It is intense, yeah.
You're intense. Yeah. So, but yeah, I'd love to rent it and see it. And so he's still with us?
He is still with us. Yeah. He's in assisted living right now. And I'm not sure. I think that's where he's at right now. No, he is in assisted living. I was going to say, is he there because of COVID? No, he's there because with the medications and everything, he needs that attention.
How long ago did you film?
We filmed this 3 years ago, 2017.
Pretty recently.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And I just want to put a shout out to, like, he has this like mantra that he came up with, and I'm wondering, do I have the t-shirt here? I was wearing it earlier today, but it's everybody love everybody. That's his ELE. That's his mantra. Everybody love everybody.
Gotta love that.
Gotta love that.
Wow. So how did music start making? How did you start making a living from music? What was your road into that?
Well, I would go back to, a couple of things that happened. I mean, really, what I remember as a child is, I remember my older sister, like I told you, she was like this musical, just amazing, incredible singer, songwriter, and she fell in love with Queen, and she didn't realize that her little brother also was falling in love with Queen, so that really started that got me into like. That got me interested really in like wanting to know more about music and how do I do this, And I actually started out on drums, and I started playing drums in a band like back in grammar school. And then I was like, no, I want to get out in front. So I started to play bass, like learn police songs and then
You sing? Did you sing? I imagine, I mean, your voice is incredible. Were you always singing out front? Was that your thing in your school band, in your band?
Yeah, I mean, by high school, it was like I knew that's what I wanted to do. Like I was so into Sting and the Police at the time, and Freddie Mercury, and the Beatles. And so I just was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. I want to sing, so. Yeah, so I've been with the acting and the music thing, and then right after college, my friend who had started that record company, his name is Richard Egan. He started the record company Vagrant Records. He signed me to his label, and I recorded an album which got assigned to a major label through Tom Shadyac, who I was talking to you about before, who had started a label called 333 under the Universal umbrella. And this was all, this is right at the beginning of Napster, right at the beginning of the millennial, and where the record industry was just being turned upside down. And so our band, it just, I don't think our album ever really was even released. And the label just fell apart. And so I just kept moving as an independent artist and kept playing on my own.
And how did you, what did you do? I mean, I want to get into your brain a little bit because I don't know that.
Oh God, good luck.
Well, I don't know that I know anybody, you know,
You're going to need 3 12-step meetings for that.
I just noticed, I forgot, this is the first day of my life in decade that I am not wearing feathers. I forgot to put in I'm so famished over events of this week that I'm not wearing feather. It's shocking.
Vicki, you are the feather. You are the feather.
Thank you. So I want to get into your brain because I don't know anybody else, nobody. And I know a lot of people in the business trying to do things that have 9 million hits on a video. I don't know anybody else that's been able to accomplish that. So I don't know if that's something that you masterminded, if you walked into a miracle and just opportunity meeting talent. I want to get into that, but there was a road to that because that didn't happen yesterday. When did you put out Bohemian Rhapsody? How long ago?
So, yeah, that's a great question. I put that out in August, I think late August, early September of 2015.
Okay, so 5 years ago. So prior to that, you were a working musician.
Yep, struggling and working and struggling and working. Yep.
Okay, so did your big gigs where you opened for Bryan Adams and for Def Leppard and for The Who, did that all happen post?
Pre.
Okay, so how the hell did that, so tell us. How the hell did that happen? I mean, you opened for The Who at the Hollywood Bowl. I saw The Who at the Hollywood Bowl last year. It was like the greatest show I have ever seen in my life.
Oh my God, they played last year. They're amazing, man. They're just like,
here.
Was Pino playing bass? And Zach Starkey on drums?
Yes.
Zach Starkey's amazing, man. He's an incredible drummer.
He's amazing. And the person was pissed because Zach was playing electronic drums and the person I was with did not like that. And
really?
I sounded amazing. And I had no problem with it at all, personally. My friend Lauren Gold is the keyboard player, has been with The Who for 7 years. How long ago did you play with The Who?
This was just a one-off. So my manager at the time, his name is Doc McGee. Do you know who Doc McGee is?
Oh, yes, I do.
Yeah. So Doc McGee was my manager at the time, and he had the connection. So he made a call or whatever, and it was like really quick. It wasn't like they were pre-planned it. It was like within a few days, like, hey, can my artist come and have 30 minutes? They're like, I think I was given 25 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. And they were like, if he plays 1 minute over, we're cutting him. I was like, cool.
Wow.
So yeah. And that was an intense experience, man. And I remember going backstage and warming up or sound checking, and there was Roger Daltrey sound checking. Pete Townsend wasn't there sound checking, but Roger was there. And there was Eddie Vedder, like hanging out with a little baby. I'm assuming it was his baby. Like there was Eddie just with that sweet smile that he has, you know? And so it was cool. And I think that was probably one of the scariest experiences in my life. Like, can I just walk from the side stage to the microphone without my knees buckling?
How long ago was this?
Huh?
How long ago?
This was 2004, August. I think it was August 9th of 2004.
Wow. Okay. And so, I mean, how were the fans with you? I mean, because they're waiting for the
Great. It was great. We did good. And it was interesting. It was actually an amazing story. I mean, an amazing experience, because I got out there, and for some reason, of course, this would be the gig. You guys are cool to swear, right? Is it cool to swear?
Oh, yeah.
I think. Okay. I think Zane asked you that question too. All right.
He
So
did.
I got out there and I started strumming my guitar, and it was just overtly out of tune. It was just like, there's cool like Bob Dylan out of tune where it's cool, you know what I'm saying? And then there's just like, what the hell is that out of tune, And it was just like nothing. I listened to something I could cover up, and and I remember my guitar player, one of my best friends in the back. I just remember this beautiful moment. He goes, "I got your back," and I remember like just stepping on the kill switch to my guitar, and I just put my arms out like this, and I just sang. And it was like I'm either gonna die or I'm gonna fly, one or the other. It's one or the other. There's no in between here, Vicki. There's no in between. So I was like, fuck it. They may shoot me, but I'm gonna fly. I'm gonna fly.
God, you had another guitar player back there.
What? Yeah. He's amazing. He actually just recently won an Emmy for what was that TV show with Jeff Daniels? It was a one-off.
Not the news.
No. Came after. It was a Western. I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, it starred Jeff Daniels in it. But he won an Emmy for composing the music. His name is Carlos Rafael Rivera.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah. So okay, so you got that from Doc McGee. Is that the way that you got Bryan Adams and Def Leppard? Was that the same time period?
Yeah, I'm gonna sorry, I just got to find out what the name of this movie is. Godless.
And how long ago was that? Recently?
That was, I think, like 2 years ago.
Very cool.
So yeah, with Bryan Adams and Def Leppard, that was also through Doc McGee. So he knew those guys, and I think he knew Def Leppard.
Uh-huh.
And they were doing a summer tour together. They were doing 3 legs, West Coast, East Coast, and up the middle of the country. And and he just did his stuff. He made the phone calls like, can you allow my artist to do an acoustic set? And it was just me and that guitar player Carlos, just me and him, he and I. We did a 30-minute set before Def Leppard and Bryan Adams. And can I just say, like, oh my God, Bryan Adams, like, I'm not sure the records do justice to what that guy can do with his voice.
Wow.
He is such he's an incredible singer, man. An incredible singer. And he delivered every night.
Wow.
And Def Leppard guys, I can't speak more highly of them. They were awesome, especially Rick, the drummer. He really befriended me. He was a really, really cool guy, deeply spiritual, beautiful man. And those guys, I really admired those guys because, look, they had every reason in the world to kind of just shoe it in, right? They had such great, like, blue collar work ethic. Like, yeah, they were there at every sound check, as if this was the only show. It's the greatest show, the show that they had to, the most important show is what I'm trying to say. And you really admired their work ethic.
Wow, that's really good to hear. So at that time, you were being handled by Doc McGee. You were touring, you were recording, and what's gone on since then? That was a while ago. How did you get from there to having? Okay, so you always loved Queen. You were saying that your sister was into Queen, and that kind of influenced you, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people have covered Bohemian Rhapsody. A lot of people have covered it. And a lot of people try to do it justice. What you have done with it is absolutely extraordinary. How'd you go from there to that? I can't even fathom how you get 9 million hits on a video. Did you orchestrate it, or did it just happen?
It's I would say probably a little bit of both. I mean, when you say orchestrated, so I mean, I didn't do anything to market it, to be honest with you. And at the time, I was just kind of getting hip. I mean, I've been so late to the game with social media, you know. I mean, I think I had, honestly, Vicki, I think I had like maybe like 750 like followers on Facebook or what at a time. And now and then it just, you know, I think I have 25,000 or something like that. But, and that's so, I mean, I pretty much all to do with Bohemian Rhapsody. And but I I had it in my head. I guess I remember thinking to myself at some point. I just remember thinking to myself, God, if I can learn, if I can do Bohemian Rhapsody, if I if I can pull this off, I did have this intuitive feeling like it could change my life. I remember thinking that and feeling that. And I also remember like, not just like, oh, if I learn the chords and I sing it right, it wasn't just about that. It was knowing that coming from a place of, it's in my blood, knowing that it's coming from a place of, that song's like saved my life, you know, like Queen saved my life. Like you know, this was a band that I turned to as for medicine, you know, growing up in my household, you know what I mean? Like this was like, they gave me a sense of purpose and vision, you know, and I knew it was in my blood, you know, like as a child, the love, you know, loving something as a child, I knew I could bring that to my interpretation, or, you know, my expression of the song.
Did you
And
you could pull it off as a solo? Did you know you could do that?
no, and I remember the first time I tried doing it live, I was like, I rehearsed it, and I remember singing it live, and it was kind of a disaster the first time I sang it live, because I didn't position like the nuances of the song. It's like the peaks and the valleys and the falsettos and the highs and the lows. Like you have to really, you know, I've learned how to really learn to work the microphone with that song. And also it's a song too that like it's a song that, you know, I knew everybody in the world knows this song.
Right.
Everybody also knows that the singer who sang that song is, if not the greatest singer that ever lived, one of the greatest singers that ever lived. And everybody agrees to that. Doesn't matter who you are, you know?
Right.
So I knew, you know, if it was, you know, if I could pull it off, you know, I knew it could be a game changer. And at the same time, I just wanted to sing it too. I felt compelled from my heart to sing it. And so, yeah, you know, I did it, and I put it out there. And at first it didn't get that much reaction. I mean, it got good reaction, but then I just remember I put it out in like August or September of 2015, and then I remember
Wait, now at the time you put it out, Randy, at what stage of what was going on in your career when you did this? What were you doing at that time?
yeah, I was struggling. I was looking for gigs. I was just getting whatever gigs I could get, you know, around LA, and I was definitely struggling.
Were you doing original music? Were you mixing originals with covers? What were you doing?
Mostly, I mean, at that time, and my bread and butter has been like gigging out doing cover songs, you know, right. But this last tour that I went on in Quebec actually a year ago, amazing tour, was mostly originals, and it was just, I was like, and then COVID came, but it's all good. Yeah, so I was just trying to get gigs, you know, wherever it was.
I interrupt you. Have you found that because you did this cover that blew up the way it did, people are more willing to listen to your originals now and be?
I think so. I think so. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So.
Okay, so let's go back to the Bohemian Rhapsody story. So, okay, so you at some point intuitively knew I can do this alone, and I can make, because I feel this so passionately, I can make this work. You knew you could do that.
I felt like I can make it my own. I'm not going to try to, don't do Freddie Mercury. No one can be Freddie Mercury. You know, like I will say, I think Mark Martel is amazing at what he can do with his voice. I think it's amazing what he can do. But there's no, I'm not gonna say, there's no Freddie Mercury other than Freddie Mercury for me. And, but yeah, I just thought, I knew that I had something to offer. I knew I could make it my own, do something that was my own with the song. And I felt, and I did feel emotionally that I could bring something emotionally to the song, to that song. And so, I just did it. And I remember we went to we actually shot it in the church that I'm musical director of in Beverly Hills. And
that church is so amazing. It's a beautiful video.
I know, it's amazing, right?
Yeah.
So I asked the associate rector at the time. I was like, "Hey man, can I use the space?" He was like, "Absolutely." So he came in, and I remember shooting. We did we had already had 3 takes. Okay, so there was 3 takes, but he had the camera. It was a stationary camera. He just had it on, stationary camera. Huh?
Who directed it?
His name is Jay Alero. But here's the thing. So he just came to record me. So he just basically had it, on a stand, the camera. So it's just one shot, one angle, right? And I did it a few times. He was like, "Dude, you got it. We got it." I was like, "Awesome, cool." I was like, "Hey man, can we do one more where you hold the camera? Can you hand hold the camera?" He was like, "All right, let's do one more." And I just remembered the experience, like when he was holding the camera and moving in. I gotta say, it was just, and while I was singing it, I was like, I can say for me is I felt something magical happen with him and the camera and both of us. Something magical happened for me. And I was, and that's the take that we went with. And I'd like to think that maybe I say this with great humility, that maybe people are picked up on that moment. Yeah. Because it was a moment I'll never forget. And so then basically what happened was I released the video, got some moderate hits, and some great comments at first. And I remember thinking to myself,
when you release it, how many followers do you have when you release it?
Like I said, I'm probably around 700. I'd maybe like, I think I had like maybe 700 like followers on Facebook, and I'm YouTube subscribers. I probably hardly had any, and now I've got 65,000. It's like amazing. It's like, mind blowing. I think the last I checked was 65,000. So yeah, so I released it, didn't get this amazing reaction that I was hoping to get at first. 3 months into it, and I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. I mean, I guess it's not gonna do what I thought maybe it could do." And I remember it was December, right around Christmas, like in between Christmas and New Year's, and Hanukkah. Let's say that too, Christmas and Hanukkah. And I just remember waking up to I just saw 64 emails. I was like, "What is this?" And it was just all these emails. And I was like, "What is all this French?" And it was like in French, and I was like, "What's going on?" And it was like basically letting me know all these people were making comments and on my YouTube, and I didn't understand it actually kind of scared me at first because I was so late to the game. I'm so not social media tech savvy. And I was like, "What's going on with my phone? What's going on? Like, did I do something wrong? Am I in trouble?" I was like, "What the fuck?" And then I went to go look at my views, and it went from 10,000 after 3 months to 17,000, within a few days or something. I was like, "Oh my God, what's going on?" And then I had a friend of mine in France who works for France 24, which is the morning show, news show for France. She was like, "Yeah, they're doing they're doing like a special on your song. They're doing like, and they want to bring you on the show to do it, and it never happened. It hasn't happened yet, but yeah. And suddenly I just started getting all this activity from France.
Wow.
Of all places, yeah.
Jerry
And huh?
You and Jerry Lewis.
Me and Jerry Lewis. That's right. That's right. So yeah, and it just I don't know, it just took off from there. And then I was asked to go. And then a woman from Quebec heard it and invited me, and I've been doing a lot of gigs out there in Quebec for the last 4 years.
And so this was not perpetuated by you. This just kind of happened. My dream came true. I mean, it did. Like what I envisioned, I thought could happen, it did happen. Okay, so maybe you did, maybe creative visualization, maybe you manifested it by putting that out in the universe and believing it. I believe in that.
Yes, me
so
too.
You saw this before you did it as something that could change your life. You had that intuitive.
I think, like I said, I think I had the understanding that like this, and I hadn't seen too many. Actually, I'd seen Reeve do a good cover of it. Reeve Carney did a good cover of it. He was really the only person I remember at the time that had been doing it. Mm-hmm. And I love Reeve. I think Reeve's amazing. And so, I just thought, this is the song to do, man. Like if you can do this, you can pull it off. And also, and another dream of mine has been, I wonder if like Bryan and Roger and John from Queen have seen it. I just wonder.
You don't know the answer to that still?
And one of the, huh?
You don't know the answer to that?
I don't know, but
I would guess they have. I would guess somebody must have mentioned it to them.
Yeah, maybe, who knows? But and the greatest, the compliments that I get, especially the ones that say, it almost like makes me want to cry. Like when I hear like, like when they say like Freddie would be proud of you, like that's like, and I'm not, I can see Freddie going both ways. Oh, darling, just let me sing the song. I can see him going, nice try, but somewhere I believe like in the ether and from the language of the heart, he knows he's feeling the vibe. And that's what feels really good to me.
I love that. How did, when the film came out, I would imagine that would have given your video a whole nother life. Did it do that?
Did the film?
Yeah.
Well, that's, again, that would be a question. I don't think so. I mean, it was, it's been, that's a question that I would leave for the director who directed it. Like, I kind of let it go.
Video a new life. Like when the film came out, you must have gotten a shit ton more hits, is what I'm guessing.
You mean This Day Forward? No,
Bohemian Rhapsody when the film came out.
Yeah. You mean the video?
No, when the movie came out about Freddie and
Oh, Jesus, good God.
Hello.
Oh my God. I had a little Mercury in retrograde moment there with you. Oh my God. I hope your audience is still with us. Okay. Forgive me. I know what you're saying. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. When Bohemian Rhapsody, the video came out, both my Bohemian Rhapsody single had a spike and a substantial one. And so did my David Bowie cover as well, too.
You have a bunch of covers, and from what I've seen, you've got a lot of hits on your original stuff. You've got a lot of hits on your covers. You have a strong following on YouTube, very strong.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm really grateful, and I'm grateful to every single one. I'm even, you know what? I won't even say this. I'm grateful to the ones who say I suck. Because they are out there. It's like I'll wake up in the morning, I'll see it like, you're lousy or whatever, like you suck. Like, okay, great, man, thank you. At least you're watching, But
we've been talking about your music for a long time, and you did that for us last time, but I know you have something prepared for us about something about your dog I think you're going to play for.
Oh, yes. Would you like to hear that?
I would like to hear that.
It's very short.
Okay.
This is for dog lovers out there. By the way, can you see me? Do you want me to turn on a light?
No, you're good. Am
I good? Okay. So I'm one of those people that just loves dogs and sees dogs more than just dogs. And I needed to write a song for my dog. So it's very short and very simple, but this is it. It's called Song for My Dog. My dog is the greatest person I have ever known. You can keep your guns and drugs and stuff and your sticks and stones. Find me a patch of green where she and I can dream of all the different ways we like to play and feel so free. My dog is the greatest person I have ever known. And when we part, it breaks my heart. And so I wrote this song. In my point of view, she's just like me and you. No different in the way we like to say, hey, I love you. No different in the way we say, I love you.
So sweet.
I love it. I mean, I dig it.
I love that your dog's your favorite person.
She is at least one of my favorite people in the world. Yes.
Oh, so sweet. So you don't really mastermind. You work. Somebody asked if you channeled Freddie Mercury when you did the recording. Do you? I would imagine you're in your own thing, but I'm asking the question because Tova posed it.
Am I channeling? I mean, honestly, that would be a question I have. That's a great question. It's an awesome question. I would have to leave that in the audience's. I would have to leave the answer for the audience on that one. I would just have to say I have no. That's not my place to say that or not. I know something happened during that recording, and I don't like to put any kind of words around it. It is what it is, and that's it. That's all. Yeah.
That's plenty. So have you masterminded since then? So you had this huge, I mean, because what happened to you, Randy, there are so many people trying to make that kind of magic happen on YouTube or on Facebook. So many people out there trying to get heard and trying to find their audience and all of that. And you had, lightning. My mentor Anson Williams talks about lightning in a bottle and getting that to happen. You had lightning in a bottle. You've had lightning in a bottle. That's a rare and wondrous thing that I think it is that thing they call opportunity meeting luck meeting the right time, all of those things. The universe conspired for this to happen for you. So has it been an onward, has there been a conscious act that goes along with it to perpetuate that? Like, are you more social media savvy now? Do you work it? Like, What is that now for you?
Yeah, it's a good question. I have become more social media. I don't know if savvy is the right word, but yes, I've been embracing it. Let's put it that way. I've been embracing it more. It's not something that comes very naturally to me. You know, I'm more like I just want to sing and play guitar and write songs and do that kind of thing. You know, but I have become more. Yes, embracing it. I think would be the best word to describe it.
So if you could be the architect of your future, and if you could manifest your next dream, what might that look like?
Well, you know, so those questions. That's like, what's your 5-year plan? You know, you know, a year ago, I started this tour in Quebec, and it was an amazing experience. Um, and it was like, yes, this is where I'm supposed to be, right? I'm supposed to be here singing the songs that I've written, also singing the songs that I haven't written, but that I've made my own as well too. And there seemed to be kind of a flow going with that, and then we get hit with this COVID thing. So for me, honestly, Vicki, it's just I want to continue to write my own music, sing, play my own music, get my music. You know, I'm in the process of finishing writing my next album. I'm assessing right now how this is going to be recorded. I had started. We were scheduled for our first recording date back in April 1st, I think it was. And it was like, look, it's COVID, whatever. Now I'm looking into possibly getting some more, like becoming more tech savvy and empowering myself, like being able to record myself. I just got my new MacBook Pro computer. I'm just ordered it, so that's on its way. So, you know, and just continue to, you know, um, be a presence out there, and do what I can to start playing out. You know, where I can. I mean, I'm just starting to get little gigs here, going out and playing out again.
What does that look like? How are you able to, like, like where, what, how?
Outside. So, yeah, I was like, I was almost moved to tears. I was actually, oh my God, am I really writing this in for the first time in 9 months? I've got a gig. Like, so one of my gigs is I'm actually playing it at a friend of mine's who I used to play at her restaurant. And now she's going to have me play outside. I'll probably be wearing a mask. I think, I don't know, but if not, there'll be, you know, social distance. But yeah, playing outside. I just literally today just was going to do a living room show up in the Bay Area, but I literally just talked to the woman. We're like, this isn't the time to do it right now during the winter time where we're enclosed, you know, an enclosed space where we have to shut the windows. We just can't do that. So, yeah, you know, but I've got one choice or another. I've just got to trust everything that's going on. Everything's happening for a reason. And, you know, my vision is to continue to play music, to continue to get out there and play and travel and record my own stuff, write and record and perform my own stuff and the cover songs that I love to play as well too.
Do you have a daily I mean, and I'm not saying this to put you on the spot at all because mine's gone out. But do you have a daily discipline? Do you what's your day like, Randy?
Well, yeah. So first, I mean, my day, first and foremost is like, I've got to take care of myself spiritually, emotionally, psychologically. So I have like a routine, you know. Do I do it perfectly? I don't do it perfectly, but I do have a basic routine. And it's interesting because I'm literally just starting to get into the writing, and I don't know, and I've been hearing this with other musicians as well too, because I would have thought like, oh, I would have been writing at the beginning of COVID. But I think there was just a lot of just settling into the newness of everything that's happening in the world, and how that's affecting me, you know, on the macro and the micro. And I've just started getting into, like, I'm now starting to initiate the writing now more. And so it's get up in the morning, you know, try to do some, you know, meditation, get to the beach, work out, come home, eat lunch. I have my spiritual communities, so-called meetings that I attend to. And then the afternoons get creative and work. That's starting to become more of the mold right now. Yeah. And but writing is a thing too. It's an interesting thing, because it's like, you know, I've got to feel it, man. I've got to feel it, you know, and I'm now starting to feel it again. You know, I writing songs doesn't necessarily come easy to me. It's got to be, you know, it's, you know, I hear about like these stories of John and Paul, like going in and they would just bang out a song every day, you know, like 3 hours, bang a song. And that's just not really my process. So it's just, but I am in that state of mind now. I'm in that place now where I'm ready to, I feel the juice is happening and I'm ready to create.
I love that, you know, and you're not alone. I'm a writer, and I have been writing. I mean, I write every day. I have a daily discipline that I have to write morning pages every day. And, you know, I write the posts for the show and stuff. But I haven't worked on my screenplay. I think one day I sat down and tried to do some work. I haven't written a column in this whole COVID thing. I think it's shaken. I don't know. Maybe there's too much freedom. Maybe there's too much. This is going to last forever, so I don't have to start today. I don't know what it is, but there's been a lot of time, and I think there's been a lot of creativity. I mean, I go live every day, and there's a lot to be said for that. But I know a lot of artists who really have not used the time to create tangible art.
So I think another way to kind of maybe look at that from another perspective, I think, is that maybe there's something intuitively happening or subconsciously happening to us artists that are just starting. Maybe this is the time to just sit and pay attention to what's going on in the world, you know, and that we are actually working, that this is part of the process.
I love it.
Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Like,
I know, I'm always writing. If you know, once I have an idea.
Exactly.
It can take me 6 months to actually get it on the paper, but every time I get in the shower, every time I drive my car, every time I go for a walk, it's working.
Exactly. And I think part of it right now for me is to just not be hard on myself and just trust this process, you know, and know that it's okay. It's okay that we're taking this time, you know.
Self-forgiveness and being gentle with ourselves now is really, really important.
Easy does it. What does it? Easy does.
It's crazy shit. I mean, we're all dealing with it. So do you have a bubble of people that I know you see your mom. Do you have other people that you see do you have interaction?
I do. I have my buddy that I go, that lives in Hermosa as well too. And some South Bay friends that we go surfing. We'll hit the surf quite a bit. And I will go to his house sometime, one of my buddies, and we'll make some gluten-free pancakes. I hope I'm not sounding too hippie, not too hippie to you.
No, I eat the gluten-free too.
And they taste so good. Like, why do I need the gluten? Like, you know, have you ever, by the way, Ryan, have you ever seen the Tom Waits interview with David Letterman? David Letterman. You should just Tom Waits free the glutens. It's okay, actually hilarious.
My husband was Letterman's head monologue writer for years.
Oh, really? Oh, that's right. Yeah, I heard you say that. That's right.
No, I have not seen the Tom Waits gluten episode.
It's right at the end. Because Tom Waits has been on the show numerous times, so it's right. The end of his show, and he's actually handcuffed to. No, David Letterman is handcuffed to George Clooney. So that's the interview you want to see. And Tom Waits is hilarious, and then he goes on to play this freaking amazing song.
Oh, nice.
He's like, this is for you, Dave.
Nice.
Take one last look. Take one last look. Yeah, he's amazing.
To that. So I think this is a time of, what's the word? I was going to say hibernate. Hibernation is not the word. No, it's incubate. I think it's a time of incubation. And I think the art that's going to come out of this is going to be extraordinary. Extraordinary. I watched a show last night. I watched This Is Us, and it was the season premiere because I wanted to see what they were going to do. And they dealt all with the pandemic. The whole thing is from within that. It was very interesting. It was very interesting. But so, all right. So before we go, I would love for you to sing something else for us. I have no idea. You said that you had something in mind. I don't know what that is, but I would love some more music. And Randy, thank you so much for being so patient with the technology disasters that we had last time and being willing to come back and try again. And I'm so glad that it worked this time.
Thank you, Vicki, and everything, is all in alignment. And what's interesting is that was pre-Mercury retrograde. And here we are defying Mercury retrograde.
It was the first day of Mercury retrograde, which I believe, and I really do believe that it was yours and
Was it really? I thought it wasn't. I thought Mercury retrograde just started like last week.
No, that was the first day of Mercury retrograde.
I stand corrected then. Okay.
No, maybe we were in the what is it called? In the shadow of the Mercury retrograde, but it's going to end. It's actually going to end on election day. It's fucking crazy, is what it's.
Wow.
But yeah. But yeah, I think we had some weird electrical charges going on with the stars last time. This was bizarre. But anyway, I did not know you. I am so grateful that I happened upon your Facebook Live. How often do you do those? Do you throw videos up every once in a while?
Well, recently I've been throwing up a lot on my Instagram. So yeah, if I can just give a shout out. Oh, here's me networking. Yeah. Everybody, it's Randy Coleman Music at Instagram and Randy Coleman Music Facebook, randycolemanmusic.com. So please follow me on Instagram. I've been posting a lot of like some songs of different colors, of an array of different types of songs that I love. So yeah, please and stay posted. And yes, and my vision is to continue to share my gift and to be touring and playing in front of thousands of people and sharing my songs on licensing my songs, which I did. I got a song on Dragonfly Lane, starring Katherine Heigl.
Oh.
So I don't know when that's coming out. They haven't told. They've been very vague with me in terms of when it's going to be released. But yeah. So Vicki, you're awesome. Thank you so much. And I pray for our country to stay kind and respectful to each other, no matter with whatever happens post November 3rd.
You're here. Amen.
And I have a little gift for you. Hold on, let me do something. It's getting so dark in here. So I have this gift. First of all, I'm going to do 2 songs.
Nice.
Yeah, 2 simple songs. Okay, 2 songs.
No rush. We have no time constraints. Do your thing.
Okay, I hope I'm going to blow you away with this. Hold on.
All right, so I was just going to take my picture out, but I'll wait till you blow me away first.
I was thinking like, is she going to ask me to sing Bohemian Rhapsody now? I sang it last time, but I was like, how can I up Bohemian Rhapsody? And I think I may have. I'm not, we'll see. But here's the first one. And I want everybody who's watching to sing with me. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Vicki. Happy birthday to
Thank you. That was my first of the year, maybe my best ever. Thank you.
Happy birthday, sweetheart. And again, thank you so much. I'm going to write it out with this song. Let's put the glasses on. I'm going to write it out with this song. This song is written and sung by Mike Nesmith.
Hey,
Mike,
you know that he produced my thing.
I don't know any. All I know is I know you. There's a picture of you with him, and I know you love him. That's all I know.
Okay.
And here's the thing: I freaking love Mike Nesmith, and I think he is like his songwriting and voice is just magic to me. So I'm gonna do a Mike Nesmith song for you for your birthday.
You.
All right, here it goes. No heartaches felt, no longer lonely. Nights of waiting finally won me happiness that's rolled up in you. And now with you as inspiration, I look toward a destination sunny, bright, that once before was blue. I have no more than I did before, but now I've got all that I need. For I love you and I know you love me. So take my hand, I'll start my journey, free from all the helpless worry that besets a man when he's alone. For strength is mine when we're together, and with you I know I'll never have to pass the high road for the low. I have no more than I did before, but now I've got all that I need. For I love you and I know you love me. One more for you, Vicki. For I love you and I know you love me.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Randy. That's one of my favorite Nez songs. Thank you so much.
Well, stay tuned. I'm going to do Joanne next.
Oh God.
I'm going to put that on my Instagram.
Oh,
I'll dedicate it to you. How about that?
That is excellent. Thank you so much, Randy. You've been an absolute treat. I adore you. I'm a big fan, and I look forward to keeping up with everything you're doing.
And long live Mary Hartman, Mary Hartman. Vicki, thank you. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.